Can I speak to the professionalism that Will and his team displayed through my case? The professionalism was profound, from everything, presentation of all the evidence in the board to every product of evidence that was prepared in my defense. It all looked outstanding, and it was all very well done. My name is Sergeant Jackson Beggs, and I'm with 110 Special Forces Group. I have served in the military for just short of 5 years. I was charged with the wrongful use of cocaine, failure to follow a general order, and false enlistment into the Army. What stood out to me the most about Will's preparation for my case, from the beginning, Will asked for everything from my side of the story. As soon as that first phone call had happened and I decided to hire Will, it was right to work. It was getting in contact with all the people willing to speak on my behalf or write on my behalf. He was focused and driven, and it just felt like I had somebody in my corner. Throughout the entire case, Will was meticulous, focused on every little bit of the government's testimony and their evidence, found inconsistencies within that evidence, and used all of that to help build my case up. Will's knowledge was a game changer. He knew how to leverage all of the government's witnesses and evidence to, in turn, actually benefit myself. It was very impressive during the board to actually watch him work. Will let me know beforehand any and all questions that the government was going to ask me. He ran through all of those questions multiple times to make sure that I wouldn't slip up and say anything to hurt myself further in the case. How did Will's advocacy influence the board? Will's argument wasn't just about the facts, but he did display those beautifully. It was also about my character and the way that he brought about all of our evidence. It was hard for the board not to be swayed in my favor. Will was a large pillar in my success and my family's success through this. Anytime we had any sort of worry or just kind of lost in this entire process, Will was always there to comfort us and give us whatever information we needed. The biggest challenge I faced during my case was just fear of losing my career that I'd worked so hard to achieve. And through every step, Will not only provided professional knowledge, but emotional support for my wife and I. He knew that this was a huge burden on our shoulders, and he was there to put our minds at ease in any way he could. The biggest impact on my future in the Army is I am allowed to stay in the Army. That's probably the number one thing. I beat the separation board thanks to Will, and I'm allowed to continue my career. How did Will's advocacy skills compare to what I expected from a military lawyer? Will, through every part of this, he was there, he was present. If I needed to call him or talk or ask a question, it was answered within an hour. He was there through every step of the way, versus when I had talked to military attorneys, I wouldn't get an email back for 3 or 4 days, and I was just constantly in this position where I was just waiting to hear and find any sort of information out. What would I say to anyone considering hiring Will M. Helixon for their legal needs? I would say just hire him. He was the best part of helping myself beat this administrative separation board. He was professional and awesome to work with through the entire process. For any military legal issue, Will is an attorney you can trust.